you have a lot of autonomy. It seems like you're often able to break the fourth wall, and I caught that lemonade reference, very topical. So I was wondering, have you had roles like that where you were able to sort of ad-lib like that, or is this something new?
Not on Broadway, but one of my favorite things to do is improv. And I do it with a group that I'm a part of. I used to do it in college a lot. And I've had other shows where they've given me the freedom to kind of play and break the fourth wall. And my favorite type of show is to talk directly to the audience. I like telling stories and being able to see the audience get their reaction. So to be in a show like this and to be able to have those kind of fun moments, it's really cool for me. So I have a couple moments in the show where I get to play and act silly, and you also want to talk about something that's topical and people know about, and so lemonade is one, and it's everywhere right now. So why not?
That's great. Yeah, and then also I have a question, because it seems like, especially in Disney, we keep coming back to this theme of like this elegant villain up against the ruffian, and why do you think that people love that story so much?
I think it's an underdog story, and it's a it's a Cinderella story, even though I'm a guy, rags to riches story, and people just always love that. They always love to root for the underdog. They love to see the journey of a guy's rise to fame, and then his fall, and then his triumph at the end. It's the hero's journey, that you learn about in high school. So it's just there's something about it that tugs at the heartstrings, and everybody, and because if you're familiar with it too, you're able to then play with it a little bit, and in a theatrical sense, you're able to play with the form, and even though it's a musical comedy, we can push the boundaries in terms of what we're able to do, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I also noticed that the first thing I noticed when I was watching the musical was they took away your monkey and replaced it with friends.
That's
like
right.
The squad.
Well, that was an original idea from
Yeah.
it was in the movie. That was the original idea, and they had to get rid of that for time reasons and for whatever reason. And I think it's okay. I think my Bad Cackle Marquesine, those guys are so much fun, and I love having a group of guy friends. And at one point, I think we were a boy band.
Yes.
That version got
Mm-hmm.
we have many different
Street Rats.
I
remember that.
Street
I
Rats on
remember
3.
I remember that.
Yeah, Mesopotamia's Got Talent. I
Yes,
think was the line.
that was the line.
So it's been through a lot of different variations, but I'm very happy with the way it's turned out.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think Aladdin is a better character with friends to play
I think only because it helps inform his character for the audience members, and it gives him a little bit of a struggle to play against because his friends are thieves and buskers and pickpockets, and that's what they're used to doing. He's able to have to struggle between going straight and making his mother proud, and going back to his life of crime, essentially. So whenever you have that sort of conflict to play, it's definitely worth playing.
Yeah. And just one last question. I wanted to know how you feel about playing the genie, who is this character that's trapped, essentially, for so long. And, especially as an artist, how do you get that feeling of trapped and being stuck?
I think there's a moment where everybody in their life has felt trapped in some place. Whether you're a teenager in a home and your parents just don't understand, or whether you are surrounded in a group of folks where you're the odd man out for the things you want to do, but your boys or your girls don't want to do that. Everybody's felt trapped, and I kind of go back to that feeling of you have all this inside you have all this energy, you have all this talent, but you can't do anything with it. And then you meet someone who says, hey, you know what? You do have something. You are special. I'm gonna set you free and let you go.
You mean you didn't lock yourself in a box for about a week, like a small little?
Well, I tried that for a second, but it didn't work. That whole method acting thing. I was like, okay, look. The problem is, it wasn't I didn't want to. It's like I'm a big dude. I'm like 6 foot, 280 pounds.
He gets in there, he's not
so to
gonna
find
get
a box that I could fit in, that someone would help me get in, was kind of hard. So I just went back to the mental box, and that's how I felt trapped. Although, when I was moving to my last apartment, I did get in a box and mess with my wife, but she doesn't get scared easy, so I was just the dude in the box. I was like, boo! She was like, get out the box. It's like, thanks, babe. Thanks
Thanks for that.
To know, what did you think about this change? And I know it was originally supposed to be in the movie, but Jasmine has these 3 friends now instead of a tiger. So how do you think that's changed her character?
I don't think it's actually changed her character very much. I think that people are always it's so funny. They joke around to me all the time. They're like, yeah, but what about Raja? Like, Raja, where's Raja? And like, what about the monkey? Like, they're so freaked out about it. But then by the time they see the show, and by the end, they're like, oh, we didn't even miss those characters. I think it would have been super cool, to have a live tiger, but I don't know. That would have been terrifying every night. Nah, no one would pay attention to me at all.
I don't think it would have been
wouldn't
that
care. No, they wouldn't have cared about me. They
No,
just were watching him the whole time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's changed the character much. I think, in fact, it's probably enhanced her character because it parallels the three friends with Aladdin. So he gets to have his three friends. I get to have my three friends. She has this sort of support group. And I think, especially in these palace walls, they are really the ones who encourage her to go out to the marketplace and see the world. And so that's so good. It's also nice to have other ladies on the stage backing you up, like, Destiny's Child. So that's good.
Nice. And it's really an ensemble production. That's what I kept coming back to when I was watching it. And so how do you think it fits in that, unlike the movie, there are all these very real three-dimensional characters, and it's not just Aladdin and Jasmine against the backdrop of the city of Agrabah, but there's all these other characters who have their own stories at the same time.
I always feel like the ensemble of any show, and especially our show, they're doing so much work and aren't as celebrated as the leads, and they're literally, there are girls standing in columns for like, how long? 4 minutes or something before the columns drop. There are girls rolling out of rugs. They're doing choreography with silks. Guys are fighting with swords. They're tapping. They have to do quick changes in 9 seconds. I mean, it's some of the hardest work on Broadway, and I feel like they don't get appreciated. Without that, you don't have a show at all. So if you don't have your ensemble, an incredible ensemble, which our director always would speak about how much our ensemble, not just dancing and singing their faces off, but how they were investing in each one of their characters. So when you see these characters in the marketplace, you go, oh, that fruit vendor. He has a story. He has an arc, So these aren't just general characters moving about. These are real people who have a story, who you can tell where they just came from, or the woman who's walking around with the baby, what her relationship is like with the baby, so it's just wonderful.
I think they help create, they really create Agrabah.
Atmosphere. Yeah.
Not the sets and the lights. I mean, all of that enhances it, but it's the activity and the energy. So they create real energy on stage.
Yeah, it's so
And
good.
they really create energy that sort of becomes Agrabah. And even the guards, those guards with those snakes on their shoulders and stuff, I mean, all of it. It's like they really make it happen. And I feel like they kind of power it a little bit. They power the story, which is good, because it's a big story. And it feels sometimes like a lot of work to push the story forward, but it feels like there's a lot of energy under it to hold it and keep it going.
Yeah, they're so talented too, not just on the stage, but off stage. They have so many other talents that you wouldn't even believe. Like, we have a guy who can edit and shoot a film and just make a masterpiece in like 10 minutes. You're like, what? And people who have these crazy voices where they're riffing all day and making music videos on the side. And we just have a
And
really
Don Darrell's
group
a
of talent.
magician.
Yeah, he's a magician. And some of these people have kids. It's unbelievable. It's very inspirational.